I'm 15 years old. I have a stepsister who is a couple years older than me, and she is really seriously disabled. I'm not sure what's wrong with her because no one ever wants to discuss it with me, but she's nonverbal, breaks her bones a lot, and has severe epilepsy and will have many fitting episodes. She also doesn't understand stuff. That's probably the easiest way to put it. She's just a human body with nothing inside. She's my stepmom's daughter. My stepmom married my dad 3 years ago and they dated only for a year before that. I don't know my stepmom very well and I don't really get on with her. We are respectful to each other, but I'm basically living with strangers because she's so busy with her daughter and my dad. I am always on my own and I used to hate it, but I'm used to it now. Ever since they moved in to live with us, life changed drastically for me because all the care now revolves around my stepsister. That's fine, I get it. But both my stepmom and my dad ask me to do things for my stepsister that I don't want to do and I resent doing. Stuff like staying home when I want to go to the mall with my friends. They're disappointed that I don't get her anything for her birthday with my very limited funds, etc. My own mom passed away when I was small, so I can't go and stay anywhere else, and all in all I'm just a lot more angry than I used to be, because they seem really disappointed whenever I say I don't want to do anything for her. Even stuff like feeding her, like I don't want to sit there feeding her banana pudding and wiping her drool. I didn't ask for this. Anyway, she recently fell a few days ago and had a seizure for 8 minutes. She was taken to hospital and the doctors want to keep her in and look after her. I don't want to go and visit her. I remember seeing my mom in hospital before she died and I just hate hospitals and I sort of hate my stepsister, and I just don't want to go and visit someone who doesn't even know I'm there. My stepmom is really upset with me and so is my dad. They haven't yelled at me or anything, but they are both being super cold towards me because I don't want to visit. My grandma who lives in Canada called me about the blue and told me it was okay. And I don't need to force myself to go to the hospital, so I'm assuming my dad has told her I'm refusing to go. He keeps pleading with me, but I keep telling him I'm not doing it. I told him hospitals remind me of mom and he got even more upset and said my stepsister might die and I need to stop being so selfish towards my stepmom. My wife and I have been together for 3 years. I have a daughter from my previous marriage. She's 14. I also have a stepson who tends to be rude at times but civil enough around adults. He's 16. He and his stepsister get along well. No arguing. No yelling, even better than most siblings I know, which is great, and it's quite a relief to see them loving and respecting each other. We have 2 bathrooms in the house. My daughter only uses the smaller one, since it's always available, unlike the main bathroom that me, my stepson and wife often use. I've recently received some money and decided to renovate the small bathroom that my daughter uses, since she complained about things needing to be fixed. I started the renovation 2 days ago, while my daughter uses the main bathroom as an alternative. There were no issues until my wife pulled me aside saying my daughter's been leaving period products inside the bathroom, and it wasn't right cause my stepson would see them. I asked my wife for more clarification and turns out my daughter gets rid of her used pads by putting them in the trash can inside the bathroom. I told my wife there was nothing wrong with that, so what's the problem? She gave me a look, called me an ignorant, then dropped it. This morning she looked upset and told me my stepson went inside the bathroom after my daughter got out and probably saw her used pads in the bathroom. I asked if she meant the trash can and it was confirmed. She then proceeded to tell me to ask my daughter to stop using the main bathroom even though the small one is still in the process of being renovated. I absolutely lost my shit and told her she was making a ridiculously unreasonable demand. Told her it's my daughter's house too. Where is she supposed to go if she can't use both bathrooms? We started arguing back and forth until she said she'd talk to her, but I told her to stop it. She just kept giving me the cold shoulder for hours now, even though my stepson said nothing about this issue as she claims it to be. My wife said she was trying to be a parent, but I treat her as an outsider to my daughter. That's not true. I might have been harsh on her, but in my opinion she wasn't trying to parent, she was being unreasonable. I might be wrong, I just don't see her point. My wife is an incredibly private person, but that doesn't mean she can get others to follow. The trash can we have has a lid. It's a step-on trash can that doesn't require hands. My stepson isn't even aware of what his mom's talking about. He can barely look around, he always has his phone glued to his face and he doesn't pay attention to anything. My son's dad is going through some financial issues at the moment and struggling to make ends meet, and I try to be understanding. I try my best to give my son nice things. Now his nice clothes are reserved for going out. If he wants to play, that's fine, but he can go and play clothes. I do not want him playing in those clothes, and I send him over there with a bag of causal clothes. We go to mass every Sunday and I have him dressed nicely. Now during mass I gave him to my ex because at that point it is now his week to stay with Alex. However, every single time, Alex will come back to me and his clothes will be wrecked, whether it's played in dirt, ripped. The buttons are off, the jeans are stained or ripped as well. I've thrown out multiple shoes because my ex will not have him change into the play clothes that I sent him in and just let him play in the nice clothes. I do not have him like this all the time. I don't have him dressed dressy or in his nice clothes all the time, just when we're going to something important. Most of the time he's in stuff that he can play in, and comfortable clothes. It's not like I have him in that all the time to where I'm always stopping playtime to change. At this point I'm so over the nice clothes being ruined because he refuses to dress him and play clothes for whatever reason. So before mass ends I will have my son take off the nice clothes and dress in casual clothes. I've been doing this for about 2 months now, and it has helped my bank account a lot to not have to spend a fortune whenever they get wrecked. I'll also point out that I tell him this multiple times, every single time he brings him back with nice clothes being ruined. I will send him a message reminding him to please put him in play clothes before he plays in the mud or the park, etc. However, lately my ex has been very upset that I'm not sending him in nice clothes. I told him that I used to, but he kept on ruining them for whatever reason, and I don't want them ruined. He's saying that I'm flaunting in his face that he's broke right now and can't afford to buy him such nice clothes. That is not at all the case. I said that that is his own insecurity talking because I have never ever done that, and I'm giving him multiple chances. I'd even be fine if he at least washed them to the point where they weren't unwashable and stained. However, he keeps saying that I am rubbing in his face that he can't buy him nice clothes right now. He needs those clothes whenever they go out to somewhere nice, and I'm being an asshole to him because he lets his kid play, and I don't want him to enjoy his time with his son and they're just clothes. I said if it has such a little significance to him then he doesn't need them that bad, and there is no argument here. He's pissed at me. I told her to a couple of my friends and family and they agree that I'm the insensitive to his situation. I got my son a 7K motorcycle for his 18th birthday this past June. My son is obsessed with automobile and loves motorcycles. In his room he has plenty of models and posters of motorcycles of all types. His bio dad passed away when he was just 12, now I'm married to my current husband and he has kids of his own. My husband has always been against my son's interest in motorcycles. He thinks I'm encouraging him to be reckless, distracting him from school and by extension his future, and spoiling him and blowing away money by spending 7K on a motorcycle. This caused some tension between him and my son, so I told him to stop complaining about it. Around 2 weeks ago, my son's motorcycle went missing. We opened a police report but nothing came out of it. It just disappeared. My husband had a smirk on his face the entire time, just walking around saying, "I told you so. You just wasted your money." This was unbearable to hear, to be quite honest. My mother-in-law visited few days ago. She was talking about the other house my husband owns and mentioned seeing a motorcycle. One that's similar to the one that we lost in my husband's carriage while she was cleaning it. She goes to clean that house weekly even though it's empty. My husband plans on giving it to his kids as inheritance. I was puzzled. I asked if she was certain, but she showed me a photo she took of it which confirmed that it was indeed my son's motorcycle. I immediately rushed to call my husband and confront him about it. He admitted that he took and hid the motorcycle in his garage as a last resort after me and his stepson kept brushing him and his thoughts off about the 7K being spent on something unnecessary and that could cause issues. I blew up at him demanding he return it. He refused and told me he had been considering selling it and giving the money back to me so I could use it wisely this time. I told him I was serious and that I'd call the police. He literally said, "This is a family matter and cops can't do shit about it." I had enough. I called the cops soon as I ended the call with him. The motorcycle was found and returned. But my husband had to be taken in since there was an open file about the motorcycles going missing. He was let go eventually, but he was livid with me. He came home yelling about how awful what I did was and how crazy my behavior was. I refused to engage in the argument, but he told his entire family about it and they judged me for calling the police on my own husband, even though I already asked him to return it. He said he was just looking out for my son and that one day we'll realize that he was right, but only when it's too late. My son isn't speaking to me or my husband. I feel horrible about the whole situation and am starting to think I handled this the wrong way.